Stars, Won't You Hide Me? By Ben Bova. Originally published in the January 1966 issue of Worlds of Tomorrow magazine, republished in the October 1988 issue of a Croatian magazine called Sirius, then in 3 anthologies, Rod Serling's Devils and Demons in 1967, Catastrophes in 1981, and Space Fighters in 1988. It also appeared in several collections of the author's stories, including Forward in Time in 1973, Notes to a Science Fiction Writer in 1975, which actually contains more essays than stories, Escape Plus in 1984, and The Best of Ben Bova, Volume 3 in 2017. Read by Daryl T. Smith II for my channel, Quasar Spectra. Stars, won't you hide me? Oh, sinner man, where are you going to run to? Oh, sinner man, where are you going to run to? Oh, sinner man, where are you going to run to all on that day? The ship was hurt, and Holman could feel its pain. He lay fetal-like in the contoured couch, his silvery uniform spider-webbed by dozens of contact and probe wires connecting him to the ship so thoroughly that it was hard to tell where his own nervous system ended and the electronic networks of the ship began. Holman felt the throb of the ship's mighty engines as his own pulse, and the gaping wounds in the generator section, where the enemy beams had struck, were searing his flesh. Breathing was difficult, labored, even though the ship was working hard to repair itself. They were fleeing, he and the ship, hurtling through the star lanes to a refuge, but where? The main computer flashed its lights to get his attention. Holman rubbed his eyes wearily and said, "Okay, what is it?" "You have not selected a course," the computer said aloud, while printing the words on its view screen at the same time. Holman stared at the screen. "Just away from here," he said at last. "Any place, as long as it's far away." The computer blinked thoughtfully for a moment. "Specific course instruction is required." "What difference does it make?" Holman snapped. "It's over. Everything finished. Leave me alone." "In lieu of specific instructions, it is necessary to tap subconscious sources. Tap away." The computer did just that, and if it could have been surprised, it would have been at the wishes buried deep in Holman's inner mind. But instead, it merely correlated those wishes to its single-minded purpose of the moment, and relayed a set of navigational instructions to the ship's guidance system. "Run to the moon, O moon, won't you hide me?" The Lord said, "Oh, sinner man, the moon'll be a-bleeding, all on that day." The final battle had been lost. On a million planets across the galaxy-studded universe, mankind had been blasted into defeat and annihilation. The others had returned from across the edge of the observable world, just as man had always feared. They had returned and ruthlessly exterminated the race from Earth. It had taken eons, but time twisted strangely in a civilization of light-speed ships. Holman himself, barely 30 years old subjectively, had seen both the beginning of the Ultimate War and its tragic end. He had gone from school into the military, and fighting inside a ship that could span the known universe in a few decades while he slept in cryogenic suspension, he had aged only 10 years during the billions of years that the universe had ticked off in its stately, objective time flow. The final battle from which Holman was fleeing had been fought near an exploded galaxy billions of light years from the Milky Way and Earth. There, with the ghastly bluish glare of uncountable shattered stars as a backdrop, the once mighty fleets of mankind had been arrayed. Mortals and immortals alike, men drew themselves up to face the implacable others. The enemy won, not easily, but completely. Mankind was crushed, totally. A few fleeing men and a few battered ships was all that remained. Even the immortals, Holman thought wryly, had not escaped. The others had taken special care to make certain that they were definitely killed. So it was over. Holman's mind pictured the blood-soaked planets he had seen during his brief, ageless lifetime of violence. His thoughts drifted back to his own homeworld, his own family, gone long, long centuries ago, crumbled into dust by geological time or blasted suddenly by the overpowering others. Either way, the remorseless flow of time had covered them over completely, obliterated them, in the span of a few of Holman's heartbeats. All gone now. All the people he knew, all the planets he had seen through the ship's electro-optical eyes, all of mankind extinct. He could feel the drowsiness settling upon him. The ship was accelerating to light speed, and the cryogenic sleep was coming, but he didn't want to fall into slumber with those thoughts of blood and terror and loss before him. With a conscious effort, Holman focused his thoughts on the only other available subject, the outside world, the universe of galaxies, an infinitely black sky studded with islands of stars, glowing shapes of light, spiral, ovoid, elliptical, little smears of warmth in the hollow, unending darkness, drabs of red and blue standing against the engulfing night. One of them, he knew, was the Milky Way, man's original home. From this distance it looked the same, unchanged by little annoyances like the annihilation of an intelligent race of star roamers. He drowsed. The ship bore onward, preceded by an invisible net of force, thousands of kilometers in radius, that scooped in the rare atoms of hydrogen drifting between the galaxies and fed them into the ship's wounded, aching generators. Something. A thought. Holman stirred in the couch. A consciousness, vague, distant, alien, brushed his mind. He opened his eyes and looked at the computer view screen. Blank. "Who is it?" he asked. A thought skittered away from him. He got the impression of other minds, simple, open, almost childish, innocent and curious. "It's a ship. Where is it? Oh, yes, I can sense it now. A beautiful ship." Holman squinted with concentration. "It's very far away. I can barely reach it. And inside of the ship, it's a man. A human? He's afraid. He makes me feel afraid." Holman called out, "Where are you?" "He's trying to speak. Don't answer." "But he makes me afraid. Don't answer him. We've heard about humans." Holman asked, "Help me." "Don't answer him and he'll go away. He's already so far off that I can barely hear him. But he asks for help. Yes, because he knows what is following him. Don't answer. Don't answer." Their thoughts slid away from his mind. Holman automatically focused the outside view screens, but here in the emptiness between galaxies, he could find neither ship nor planet anywhere in sight. He listened again, so hard that his head started to ache, but no more voices. He was alone again, alone in the metal womb of the ship. "He knows what is following him." Their words echoed in his brain. Are the others following me? Had they picked up my trail? They must have. They must be right behind me. He could feel the cold perspiration start to trickle over him. "But they can't catch me as long as I keep moving," he muttered. "Right?" "Correct," said the computer, flashing lights at him. "At a relativistic velocity within less than 1% of light speed, it is impossible for this ship to be overtaken. Nothing can catch me as long as I keep running." But his mind conjured up a thought of the immortals. Nothing could kill them, except the others. Despite himself, Holman dropped into deep sleep. His body temperature plummeted to near zero. His heartbeat nearly stopped, and as the ship streaked at almost light speed, a hardly visible blur to anyone looking for it, the outside world continued to live at its own pace. Stars coalesced from gas clouds, matured and died in explosions that fed new clouds for newer stars. Planets formed and grew mantles of air. Life took root and multiplied, evolved, built a myriad of civilizations in just as many different forms, decayed, and died away, all while Holman slept. "Run to the sea. O sea, won't you hide me?" The Lord said, "O sinner man, the sea'll be a-sinking all on that day." The computer woke him gently with a series of soft chimes. "Approaching the solar system and planet Earth, as indicated by your subconscious course instructions." Planet Earth, man's original homeworld. Holman nodded. Yes, this was where he had wanted to go. He had never seen the Earth, never been on this side of the Milky Way galaxy. Now he would visit the teeming nucleus of man's doomed civilization. He would bring the news of the awful defeat and be on the site of mankind's birth when the inexorable tide of extinction washed over the Earth. He noticed, as he adjusted the outside view screens, that the pain had gone. "The generators have repaired themselves," he said. "While you slept, power generation system now operating normally." Holman smiled, but the smile faded as the ship swooped closer to the solar system. He turned from the outside view screens to the computer once again. "Are the scopes working all right?" The computer hummed briefly, then replied, "Subsystems check satisfactory. Component check satisfactory. Integrated equipment check positive. Viewing equipment functioning normally." Holman looked again. The sun was rushing up to meet his gaze, but something was wrong about it. He knew deep within him, even without having ever seen the sun this close before, that something was wrong. The sun was whitish and somehow stunted-looking, not the full yellow orb he had seen in film tapes. And the Earth? The ship took up a parking orbit around a planet scoured clean of life, a blackened ball of rock, airless, waterless. Hovering over the empty, charred ground, Holman stared at the devastation with tears in his eyes. Nothing was left. Not a brick, not a blade of grass, not a drop of water. "The others," he whispered. "They got here first." "Negative," the computer replied. "Check of stellar positions from Earth reference shows that several billion years have elapsed since the final battle." "Several billion?" "Logic circuits indicate the sun has gone through a nova phase, a completely natural phenomenon unrelated to enemy action." Holman pounded a fist on the unflinching armrest of his couch. "Why did I come here? I wasn't born on Earth. I never saw Earth before. Your subconscious indicates a subjective impulse stirred by—" "To hell with my subconscious!" He stared out at the dead world again. "All those people, the cities, all the millions of years of evolution, of life, even the oceans are gone. I never saw an ocean. Did you know that? I've traveled over half the universe and never saw an ocean. Oceans are a comparatively rare phenomenon, existing on only one out of approximately 3,000 planets. The ship drifted outward from Earth, past a blackened Mars, a shrunken Jupiter, a ringless Saturn. "Where do I go now?" Holman asked. The computer stayed silent. "Run to the Lord." "Oh, Lord, won't you hide me?" The Lord said, "Oh, sinner man, you ought to been a-prayin' all on that day." Holman sat blankly while the ship swung out past the orbit of Pluto and into the comet belt at the outermost reaches of the sun's domain. He was suddenly aware of someone watching him. "No cause for fear. I am not of the others." It was an utterly calm, placid voice speaking in his mind, almost gentle, except that it was completely devoid of emotion. "Who are you?" "An observer. Nothing more." "What are you doing out here? Where are you? I can't see anything." "I have been waiting for any stray survivor of the final battle to return to mankind's first home. You are the only one to come this way in all this time." "Waiting? Why?" Holman sensed a bemused shrug and a giant spreading of vast wings. "I am an observer. I have watched mankind since the beginning. Several of my race even attempted to make contact with you from time to time, but the results were always the same, about as useful as your attempts to communicate with insects. We are too different from each other. We have evolved on different planes. There was no basis for understanding between us." "But you watched us." "Yes, watched you grow strong and reach out to the stars, only to be smashed back by the others. Watched you regain your strength, go back among the stars. But this time you were constantly on guard, wary, alert, waiting for the others to strike once again. Watched you find civilizations that you could not comprehend, such as our own, bypass them as you spread through the galaxies. Watched you contact civilizations of your own level that you could communicate with. You usually went to war with them." "And all you did was watch?" "We tried to warn you from time to time. We tried to advise you, but the warnings, the contacts, the glimpses of the future that we gave you were always ignored or derided. So you boiled out into space for the second time and met other societies at your own level of understanding, aggressive, proud, fearful, and like the children you are, you fought endlessly." "But the others, what about them?" "They are your punishment." "Punishment? For what? Because we fought wars?" "No, for stealing immortality." "Stealing immortality? We worked for it. We learned how to make humans immortal. Some sort of chemicals. We were going to immortalize the whole race. I could have become immortal." "Immortal? But they couldn't stand that, the others. They attacked us." He sensed a disapproving shake of the head. "It's true," Holman insisted. "They were afraid of how powerful we would become once we were all immortal, so they attacked us while they still could, just as they had done 1,000,000 years earlier. They destroyed Earth's first interstellar civilization and tried to finish us permanently. They even caused ice ages on Earth to make sure none of us would survive. But we lived through it and went back to the stars, so they hit us again. They wiped us out. Good God, for all I know, I'm the last human being in the whole universe.
Your knowledge of the truth is imperfect. Mankind could have achieved immortality in time. Most races evolve that way eventually, but you were impatient. You stole immortality.
Because we did it artificially, with chemicals. That's stealing it?
Because the chemicals that gave you immortality came from the bodies of the race you called the Flower People, and to take the chemicals it was necessary to kill individuals of that race.
Holman's eyes widened. What?
For every human made immortal, one of the flower folk had to die.
We killed them? Those harmless little... His voice trailed off.
To achieve racial immortality for mankind, it would have been necessary to perform racial murder on the flower folk.
Holman heard the words, but his mind was numb, trying to shut down tight on itself and squeeze out reality.
That is why the others struck. That is why they had attacked you earlier during your first expansion among the stars. You had found another race with the same chemical of immortality. You were taking them into your laboratories and methodically murdering them. The others stopped you then, but they took pity on you and let a few survivors remain on Earth. They caused your ice ages as a kindness to speed your development back to civilization, not to hinder you. They hoped you might evolve into a better species, but when the opportunity for immortality came your way once more, you seized it, regardless of the cost, heedless of your own ethical standards. It became necessary to extinguish you, the others decided.
And not a single nation in the whole universe would help us.
Why should they?
So it's wrong for us to kill, but it's perfectly all right for the others to exterminate us?
No one has spoken of right and wrong. I have only told you the truth.
They're going to kill every last one of us.
There is only one of you remaining.
The words flashed through Holman. I'm the only one? The last one? No answer. He was alone now, totally alone, except for those who were following. Run to Satan. Oh, Satan, won't you hide me? Satan said, oh, sinner man, step right in, all on that day. Holman sat in shocked silence as the solar system shrank to a pinpoint of light and finally blended into the mighty panorama of stars that streamed across the eternal night of space. The ship raced away, sensing Holman's guilt and misery in its electronic way. Immortality through murder, Holman repeated to himself over and over. Racial immortality through racial murder. And he had been a part of it. He had defended it, even sought immortality as his reward. He had fought his whole lifetime for it, and killed, so that he would not have to face death. He sat there surrounded by self-repairing machinery, dressed in a silvery uniform, linked to 1,000 automatic systems that fed him, kept him warm, regulated his air supply, monitored his blood flow, exercised his muscles with ultrasonic vibrators, pumped vitamins into him, merged his mind with the passionless brain of the ship, kept his body tanned and vigorous, his reflexes razor-sharp. He sat there unseeing, his eyes pinpointed on a horror that he had helped to create. Not consciously, of course, but to Holman that was all the worse. He had fought without knowing what he was defending, without even asking himself about it. All the marvels of man's ingenuity, all the deepest longings of the soul, focused on racial murder. Finally, he became aware of the computer's frantic buzzing and light flashing. What is it? Course instructions are required. What difference does it make? Why run anymore? Your duty is to preserve yourself until ordered to do otherwise. Holman heard himself laugh. Ordered? By who? There's nobody left. That is an unproved assumption. The war was billions of years ago, Holman said. It's been over for eons. Mankind died in that war. Earth no longer exists. The sun is a white dwarf star. We're anachronisms, you and me. The word is atavism. The hell with the word. I want to end it. I'm tired. It is treasonable to surrender while still capable of fighting and or eluding the enemy. So shoot me for treason. That's as good a way as any. It is impossible for systems of this ship to harm you. All right then, let's stop running. The others will find us soon enough once we stop. They'll know what to do. This ship cannot deliberately allow itself to fall into enemy hands. You're disobeying me? This ship is programmed for maximum effectiveness against the enemy. A weapons system does not surrender voluntarily. I'm no weapons system. I'm a man, damn it. This weapons system includes a human pilot. It was designed for human use. You are an integral component of the system. Damn you! I'll kill myself. Is that what you want? He reached for the control panels set before him. It would be simple enough to manually shut off the air supply, or blow open an airlock, or even set off the ship's destruct explosives. But Holman found that he could not move his arms. He could not even sit up straight. He collapsed back into the padded softness of the couch, glaring at the computer view screen. Self-protection mechanisms include the capability of preventing the human component of the system from irrational actions. A series of clicks and blinks. Then, in lieu of specific course instructions, a random evasion pattern will be run. Despite his fiercest efforts, Holman felt himself dropping into deep sleep. Slowly, everything faded, and darkness engulfed him. Run to the stars. O stars, won't you hide me? The Lord said, O sinner man, the stars'll be a-falling all on that day. Holman slept as the ship raced at near light speed in an erratic, meaningless course, looping across galaxies, darting through eons of time. When the computer's probings of Holman's subconscious mind told it that everything was safe, it instructed the cryogenic system to reawaken the man. He blinked, then slowly sat up. Subconscious indications show that the wave of irrationality has passed. Holman said nothing. You were suffering from an emotional shock. And now it's an emotional pain. A permanent, fixed, immutable disease that will kill me, sooner or later. But don't worry, I won't kill myself. I'm over that. And I won't do anything to damage you either. Course instructions? He shrugged. Let's see what the world looks like out there. Holman focused the outside view screens. Things look different, he said, puzzled. The sky isn't black anymore. It's sort of grayish, like the first touch of dawn. Course instructions? He took a deep breath. Let's try to find some planet where the people are too young to have heard of mankind and too innocent to worry about death. A primitive civilization. The scanners can only detect such societies at extremely close range. Okay, we've got nothing but time. The ship doubled back to the nearest galaxy and began a searching pattern. Holman stared at the sky, fascinated. Something strange was happening. The view screens showed him the outside world and automatically corrected the wavelength shifts caused by the ship's immense velocity. It was as though Holman were watching a speeded-up tape of cosmological evolution. Galaxies seemed to be edging into his field of view, mammoth islands of stars, sometimes coming close enough to collide. He watched the nebulous arms of a giant spiral slice silently through the open latticework of a great ovoid galaxy. He saw two spirals interpenetrate, their loose gas heating to an intense blue that finally disappeared into ultraviolet. And all the while, the once black sky was getting brighter and brighter. "Found anything yet?" he absently asked the computer, still staring at the outside view.
"You will find no one."
Holman's whole body went rigid. No mistaking it. The others.
"No race anywhere will shelter you. We will see to that. You are alone, and you will be alone until death releases you to join your fellow men."
Their voices inside his head rang with cold fury, an implacable hatred, cosmic and eternal. But why me? I'm only one man. What harm can I do now?
"You are a human. You are accursed, a race of murderers. Your punishment is extinction."
"But I'm not an immortal. I never even saw an immortal. I didn't know about the flower people. I just took orders."
"Total extinction for all of mankind. All."
"Judge and jury, all at once. And executioners, too. All right, try and get me. If you're so powerful and it means so much to you that you have to wipe out the last single man in the universe, come and get me. Just try."
"You have no right to resist. Your race is evil. All must pay with death. You cannot escape us."
"I don't care what we've done. Understand? I don't care. Wrong, right, it doesn't matter. I didn't do anything. I won't accept your verdict for something I didn't do."
"It makes no difference. You can flee to the ends of the universe to no avail. You have forced us to leave our time continuum. We can never return to our homeworlds again. We have nothing to do but pursue you. Sooner or later, your machinery will fail. You cannot flee us forever."
Their thoughts broke off, but Holman could still feel them, still sense them following. "Can't flee forever," Holman repeated to himself. "Well, I can damn well try." He looked at the outside view screens again, and suddenly the word forever took on its real meaning. The galaxies were clustering in now, falling in together as though sliding down some titanic, invisible slope. The universe had stopped expanding eons ago, Holman now realized. Now it was contracting, pulling together again. It was all ending. He laughed. Coming to an end. Mankind and the others, together, coming to the ultimate and complete end of everything. "How much longer?" he asked the computer. "How long do we have?" The computer's lights flashed once, twice, then went dark. The view screen was dead. Holman stared at the machine. He looked around the compartment. One by one, the outside view screens were flickering, becoming static-streaked, weak, and then winking off.
They're taking over the ship!
With every ounce of willpower in him, Holman concentrated on the generators and engines. That was the important part, the crucial system that spelled the difference between victory and defeat. The ship had to keep moving. He looked at the instrument panels, but their soft luminosity faded away into darkness. And now it was becoming difficult to breathe, and the heating units seemed to be stopped. Holman could feel his life warmth ebbing away through the inert metal hull of the dying ship. But the engines were still throbbing. The ship was still streaking across space and time, heading toward a rendezvous with the infinite.
Surrender. In a few moments you will be dead. Give up this mad flight and die peacefully.
The ship shuddered violently. What were they doing to it now?
Surrender.
Go to hell, Holman snapped. While there's breath in me, I'll spend it fighting you.
You cannot escape.
But now Holman could feel warmth seeping into the ship. He could sense the painful glare outside as billions of galaxies all rushed together down to a single cataclysmic point in space-time.
It's almost over,
he shouted.
Almost finished, and you've lost. Mankind is still alive despite everything you've thrown at him. All of mankind, the good and the bad, the murderers and the music, wars and cities and everything we've ever done. The whole race from the beginning of time to the end, all locked up here in my skull. And I'm still here. Do you hear me? I'm still here.
The others were silent. Holman could feel a majestic rumble outside the ship, like distant thunder. The end of the world. The end of everything and everybody. We finish in a tie. Mankind has made it right down to the final second. And if there's another universe after this one, maybe there'll be a place in it for us all over again. How's that for laughs? The world ended, not with a whimper, but a roar of triumph. You've been listening to pre-1990s speculative fiction readings with a highlight on science fiction by Darrell T. Smith II. Please consider clicking the donation link in the description box. Thank you so much for your time and your imagination.